r/AskReddit. What trait or characteristic do you think is your fatal flaw, and how has it gotten you in trouble? Serious replies only. Indecisiveness and the fear of what people will think once I make a decision or form a stance. I envy people who can do this confidently and not care so much, and I'm trying to get better at it. Not establishing proper boundaries. This is the root problem for issues like being too nice or being taken advantage of. The beginning of a relationship, whether it's a work relationship or a romantic one, is when to establish what lines shouldn't be crossed. Oftentimes, I went above and beyond in a new relationship, not expecting anything in return, only to find that people always expected above, beyond, and much more. They gave little or nothing in return, and to make matters worse, felt victimized or personally slighted if I wasn't willing to bend over backwards for them. With this also comes not being able to stand up/speak up for myself. Even when a situation or person makes me extremely uncomfortable, instead of assertively letting people know I pent up all my emotions. And then starts the cycle of brooding about it, crying, getting angry, and behaving in passive-aggressive ways. Not to add the resentment I feel towards these people. It would save so much trouble if only I could just say what you are doing is making me uncomfortable. This is not how I want to be treated. Hating conflict. I have knee-jerk instinct to try to appease in order to defuse angry situations. I have been working on it, but I'm still not great at being okay with someone being angry with me or disliking me. Being too nice/patient. I've definitely been taken advantage of before with helping people out, and then they would assume I'd always be willing to help. I get bored of talking. So, if someone asks me a question that requires an answer longer than a sentence, my voice becomes monotone and I just lose interest in what I have to say. Other people can tell and then get bored themselves and don't talk to me a lot after that. Hasn't gotten me in trouble yet, but has definitely made connecting with others difficult. However, I like it because I'm introverted and don't like talking to people to begin with, but I think being able to talk to people without turning off would be a very useful trait to have in life. I constantly have the fear that people are my friends out of pity or some other bullshit. I also overthink pretty much everything I say. As a result of the first one, I'm constantly saying you don't have to if you don't want to or something like that whenever I ask my friends to hang, even though they constantly are saying that they want to and that I'm good. As a result of the second one, I've had virtually no relationships and I'm constantly deleting chats. Hitting that fuck it button. When I'm stressed or sad, I'll make bad decisions that will make me feel better in the moment, but in the long term I know aren't good. I get very easily swept off my feet by a girl. 2 terrible relationships that went on long after I became miserable because I was determined these girls were meant for me later. I hope I can learn better in the future. I use humor to deal with my emotions and anxiety a lot of times and sometimes have trouble turning it off. There have been so many situations in my life where I know I have annoyed other people because I can't stop joking around at times where I should be serious. I go with the flow, have way too high of a tolerance for bullshit, and I'm patient to a fault. I've stayed in ridiculous relationships for too long. I've been taken advantage of. I've been a doormat. I've just kinda drifted my way into outrageous situations and been charming and lucky enough to weasel my way out relatively unscathed. It's held me back. I know that much. Now I try to set a lower bar before I start speaking my mind. Sometimes ya still gotta have a good freak out. I'm somewhat shy and introverted by nature, so I try to make up for it with dumb, sometimes self-deprecating humor. My jokes are sometimes cringy when I make too much fun of myself, or inappropriate if I joke about someone else. I can't take a compliment. Even if I'm flattered, I do everything to downplay the sentiment, and I can obviously see it's frustrating or upsetting for the individual who took the time to compliment me. It's been pointed out more and more recently, and I just can't stop. Honestly, I think it's because it makes me feel very vulnerable. That, and I already suffer from self-worth issues like many other people, so that just further complicates matters. I bail a lot. I make acquaintances easily. I'm sociable and I like to think funny. I only have one real friend though. Why? because I freak out when I say something stupid, which happens a lot, and then never continue that friendship. Same thing with hobbies. I'm kinda good at a lot of things. The only thing I'd consider myself really good at is writing. With writing though, I can never finish any projects. I have dozens of unfinished drafts and dozens of unfinished ideas. Memory is so bad that I often remember memories as dreams. In other words, I'm not sure if what I'm remembering actually happened. Caused a lot of arguments because I always remembered shit wrong. Now it's just perpetual sadness because I'm nowhere near confident enough in my own memory to argue that I did not say or do something. Edit. This has also caused me to become paranoid that people are telling me I said something that I didn't. Life sucks. I grew up in a toxic family and they always made me feel like a stupid and horrible person, no matter how kind/smart I really was. Because of this, I have basically no care for what someone else's opinion of me is, including my wife. It made for some marital strife, but I've been making strides in correcting it, and our marriage is much better, even though it was never bad to begin with. I just refuse to see myself through someone else's eyes, but oftentimes, that is where your faults can be reveled. I lack confidence. Often, at school/work, I would have ideas on how to solve an issue, but would think that's dumb. If it worked, someone else would have thought of it already and would remain quiet. I think it's one of the reasons I have not been able to advance my career the way I would like. How I rarely make eye contact. I hate this so much about myself. It's been a flaw of mine since I was little, but I know, not excusing this, being honest, it's because of my social anxiety. I get shy or anxious while in conversation with anyone new, or if the person is a guy and he's really nice, or I'm being lectured by either of my parents. That really makes my eyes wander most of the time, especially if the topic is not too deep. I'm working on this but still struggle. And I talk over someone in conversation, mostly if I get really excited about the topic we are talking about, anything geeky, for example. Yet, I'm aware it isn't appropriate all the time. Subscribe for daily Reddit videos. Also for an onion ring. Thank you for watching.